Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 3 between iPKhan, aka Ismail Khan, playing for UC Riverside, versus Jonathan Young, playing as SCDMcLoviN. This match is on GSL dual site, and as both of you can clearly see, both of you referring to my 1-2 viewers, both players are in round number 2 of the UCR versus UCSD semifinals for the West Division, and I'm really excited for this game personally because I absolutely love Khan. Wrath of Khan was a fantastic movie, despite the copyright infringement that I'm probably inflicting. And I really would love to see Khan versus McLovin. That's like a genetic super lord general against a really scrawny kid. And honestly, I'm voting for Khan just because he's Khan, and Kirk and Spock and Khan, they just have such a, I don't know, I'm such a super nerd, it doesn't even matter. So, how about I start casting the game instead of nerding out over the names of these two players? We have relatively standard openings from the both of them. SCDMcLoviN dropping the barracks at the wall because you never know when you could get 6 pulled. Meanwhile, Khan actually scouting with a drone. I'm not sure I agree with the drone scout. As a Zerg, personally, I feel like that drone could be better off mining. I understand that against a Terran, the SCV is required to make a building, so technically in terms of units that are still mining, I suppose you're both even. But honestly, why not try to eke out every single advantage that you can? Is what I sort of agree with. And Khan sneaks in and denies the supply depot barely by milliseconds. Meanwhile, Khan scouts out, sees everything, sees the fast gas, sees the barracks going down. It does look like, will he try to block it again? No, he will not. Khan gets walled off and pulls off with the drone. We do have a hatchery first from Khan. I believe that was around 15 or maybe 14 supply. So very economic opening, relatively standard for the Zerg to be doing something like this. I believe that scout was just to make sure there wasn't any cheese in the CSL. I am really surprised in all the games that I've seen so far how paranoid the players are of cheese, just maybe a proxy Rax or something. And this Marine is actually set to follow. I'm going to check the barracks rally point. It does look like the barracks is all the way rallied to the natural, right on the hatchery, so Khan, excellently aware of this, scouting, making sure that there will not be any bunker rushes, which it looks like there will be. However, Khan's overlord sees everything, knows everything. So, meanwhile, Khan's drone is already set to attack the SCV, pulling a healthy number of drones. What is that? 8 drones now. Looks like we did have a small lag spike. SCDMcLoviN needs to be careful. This SCV might go down. If it does, there goes the bunker. I don't think there is a backup SCV to build anything, but it does look like this was repelled. Khan goes straight to mining, not even concerned now that his Zerglings and Queen is on the way. So relatively standard from both players. A quick 1-1 run from SCDMcLoviN, reactor going down on the barracks, so probably going to see some very quick Hellions. Khan already prepared with speed off of 1 gas, not even mining the gas anymore, just defensive Zergling speed. A spine crawler at the natural to prevent any Hellion run-bys, playing very defensively. No fast third. Looks like Khan, 2 spine crawlers actually. Khan wants to be safe and secure against McLoviN. McLoviN dropping a tech lab on the reactor, relatively standard play. Continuing to mule up, continue dropping down supply depots. It does look like somebody was lagging the game a little bit. This is played between multiple players in multiple locations, so we do have to cope with certain issues like lag in games like these. And yes, 2 Hellions are in production. Let's see what sort of damage these can do. It all depends on McLovin's control and the placement of Khan's spine crawlers. It does look like these spine crawlers are placed in relatively good positions, preventing run-bys. It will be very difficult to go around, and McLoviN sees the... Oh no, he's burning his own Hellion to kill the creep tumor. I've never seen anything like that. That's almost Korean, one might even say. And it does look like the wall was up, so these Hellions were unable to make it out. Khan has dropped his Roach Warren, and we do see Banshee Cloak and a Banshee in production, so looks like McLoviN really wants to put on the harass. Roach Warren is in production for Khan, so he's just going for relatively standard, good old-fashioned Stefano mass Zerglings, hopefully try to kill your opponent. Looks like this creep tuner is going to be sniped as well. Khan actually needs to pull this queen back or he might lose the queen. The Hellions are taking a lot of damage, but the queen is just so naturally armored against these Hellions, and the Hellions do manage to snipe the creep tumor, which does prevent the spread of creep, unfortunately, and some Zerglings getting roasted. Khan drops an Evo chamber. We do have a Zergling and an Overlord Scout. The Overlord does see everything. He sees the Banshee fly out. He does see it, the tech lab producing, so he has to assume, hopefully, that it is Cloak. What else would you be using it for at this point in the game? Hellions trying to poke around, see if they can do any more damage, but it does look like they finally get scared away. These Zerglings, it seems like he might be actually going to try to snipe some of the Hellions. The Banshee sees them, the Hellions are there. It doesn't look like they're going to try to run away, and a surround on all of the Hellions. One goes down, two goes down, the third has 10 life. The first with 2, and it does look like these are going to go down. And losing the Hellions, that's so bad, so much map control. Khan looks relatively unprepared. He does have the Sport Crawlers in the middle line, but the Queens are trying to get a flank on the Banshee, but it does seem like they are a little bit too far away. Finally, the Sport Crawler scares it away. The Queen, with literally 3 hit points, managed to survive a transfuse to bring her back up to standard health, and finally things have equalized a little bit. It does look like the Zerglings are trying to scout a little bit. Let's see if they see anything important. They do actually see the command center and 2 barracks, so Khan knows exactly what his opponent's doing. He does see that there is the tech lab making something. I don't think he saw the factory switch, but he hopefully can assume that there will be a siege tank switch coming up because of the failed 2 attempts at harass. Khan just continuing to drone up. We take a look at the units tab at 51 drones to 30 SCVs. Income. Income. We do have Khan comfortably in the lead for minerals despite the mules. Now Khan only taking his gas. I really like saying Khan's name, if you may have noticed. But Khan only now taking the gas at his natural, which will allow him to catch up just a little bit. I believe he's also only taking the... Yeah, he did just take the gas. Second gas at his main. We do have a macro hatch coming down, more and more Zerglings in production. Relatively standard play from both players. Layer going down. Khan is comfortable in that he survived the early game harass and is now droning up quite extensively. It does look like he's probably gearing up to try to take a third. We do have a Hellion scouting out just to make sure there is one, and yes, there is one queued to build. Looks like these Zerglings are going to try to do a run by, see if they can do any damage, but there's all of these Marines and siege tanks which will hopefully repel them, and they successfully do. McLoviN taking his natural. He's got it secured with the siege tanks that are not in siege mode. I recommend that they would be. Need to put the Marines out in front just to buffer the damage. Those Zerglings look like they are going to try to snipe this Hellion. I'm not sure if it will be able to survive. They finally do back away and let it go. Meanwhile, the Banshee in the middle of the map just scouting around. Cloak was cancelled because Khan did scout it. No harass was able to be done. Roaches are finally in production. We also have a Baneling Nest and Infestation Pit for Khan. Here we have the Infestation Pit and a Baneling Nest. So it looks like we're going to see some fungal Zergling Roach because Terran don't make air units, I suppose. Excluding this Banshee. This Banshee, don't look at it. It's an exception. 4 Queens on their slow trek to try to save the hatchery, and it does look like McLoviN may actually be able to micro around these Queens and kill the hatchery, doing tons of damage already. The Banshee starting to take a little bit of damage, but it does look like he will be forced to finally back away. Half health damage being done to this hatchery. That's a lot of damage from that single Banshee. Now it's just scouting around trying to see if he can do any damage. Meanwhile, Khan spreading his Zerglings out, keeping map presence, making sure there's not going to be any more surprise harass. Is managing to keep up very, very well. Now seems to be in full unit production. Centrifugal hooks, glial reconstitution, pathogen glands, and +1 carapace for all of his units, along with a few more drones to saturate the third, another 2 Queens and Spore Crawlers for defense back at home, while Khan prepares for his big mid-game push. And it looks like McLoviN is actually going to decide to go for the push first, pushing out with a healthy number of Marines and siege tanks, going to see if he can put on a little bit of pressure. Khan sees it coming with the Zergling at the watchtower, pulls everything back, He does not have speed though, so these could get caught out of position. It does look like McLovin's going to do a little bit of damage. The banelings don't have speed, so they don't make contact with the Marines. Not enough damage done there for Khan. Really should have just continued to back away, keep as many units alive for the push as possible. And it does look like McLovin is starting to siege up a little bit. This is a really good position with the siege tanks. And McLovin pushing in with the Zerglings. He has so many units that he can just wipe out this army. The Roaches focus firing the siege. Oh, they're not focus firing the siege tanks, doing tons and tons of damage. But it does look like this is going to be cleaned up, and Khan manages to quickly and easily clear up that army, losing a healthy number of his own, but with his third already fully operational, fully supplied, and mining with a grand total of 4 drones. I know, I'm a hypocrite. Khan will have the advantage, and the Zerglings miss-rally, trying to see if they can snipe a single Marine, but they end up taking lots and lots of damage, buffering for the Marines. Does not look like Khan. Oh, more and more units continuing to stream in. The Infestor is going to get a fungal growth. Oh no, spawning infested Terrans because there aren't enough units to fungal growth. Looks like Khan is just going to bust his way up the ramp with the incredible DPS of these infested Terrans. What is that at? 8 DPS with the attack speed of Marines. They're the equivalent of 2-0 Marines. The SCVs are picked up. Looks like this natural is about to fall very quickly. These infested Terrans need to attack the supply depot and bring it down so the Zerglings can get into the base. The depot does go down, and it does look like these SCVs are going to try to create a wall, preventing the units from getting in. More infested Terrans being flown in, but so much damage has been done already. These SCVs are taking tons and tons of damage. We see more and more units in production for Khan. It does look like this game is just about over. The SCVs actually repairing themselves, but it still doesn't seem to be enough. Finally, this push is barely repelled by 3 hero Marines being healed by the medevacs, but it may not be enough. So much damage was done. We take a look at the units lost tab. 15 workers were killed, and a lot of units. McLovin effectively has no standing army, and it does look like Khan is sneaking back in with more and more Zerglings, see if he can just finish the game. He's not even going to try to bring it to a late game, pushing back in, and McLovin reacting excellently. I really like this repair, but now with the siege tanks up, he's doing more damage to his own SCVs with the siege tanks than the Zerglings are doing on their own. So many SCVs just died, 22. The Infestors are going in now to fungal growth the remaining SCVs and do tons and tons of damage while these 2 siege tanks try to hold the line, but it doesn't look like it will be enough. This game is just about over. So much damage has been done. I would be very surprised if we didn't see a GG. The Infestors spawning infested Terrans to try to snipe these CC, and there's the GG from McLovin. So that was game number 2 with Khan playing for UC Riverside, taking the win. The matches are now at a solid 1-1, and I will see you lovely ladies and gentlemen in game 3.